5 for those of you that are doing the sewing machine applique version where you use your sewing machine to do the majority of your stitches. We are going to start though with a little tip if you want to do something by hand, and that is all the cute accent lines. A lot of the little pumpkins and candy corn have smiles and fun things like that.
Big happy smiles.
Big happy smiles, because it's a super fun Halloween quilt, not spooky or anything like that. So what we're going to do is start by sharing a technique with that. So before we start that, what tools do you have, or what thread are you using?
Well, today you can use any embroidery floss. You can use 12-weight sulky. I'm actually using a new thread that Sulky has called, well, it's not that new, but it's called Filane. And I don't know if they can tell.
Let me come over to, there you go.
Oh, come to this camera. It's actually fuzzy. It's Filane, and you can actually fuzz this up. You can run this through your embroidery machine and then take a little brush, like a little soft toothbrush or one of those chenille brushes, and fuzz it up. But for our purposes today, I'm just using it because I like it. It gives a real thick kind of look to the face, to their little smiley mouths.
I like it.
So, and then I just have a regular needle, and I put a little quilter's knot at the end, a very tiny knot. But I don't have my little candy corn face drawn, so I'm going to let Brittany do that because we like to use the light box for this.
So we're going to come over here. What I have in front of me is the placement guide that comes in your pattern, and I have the applique piece that Mom is referencing, which is the little face. And so what I'm going to do, let me tell you what I have in front of me. I have my premium glow light pad, which I love because it can be cordless if it's charged. And then on top of it, I have my applique glass mat. So for this particular step, I'm not ironing anything, but as I make all my units, I love having this over. So I'm gonna turn my light on. I simply put my applique piece right on my placement guide. So remember, I'm not ironing anything, I'm just gonna trace. And now to trace it, Mom likes to use this micron pigment pen, and I have to agree, it's my favorite out of the options. You could use a Soleil chalk pencil. I think the line might be just a hair thick.
Yeah, that would show a little bit. Also, I sometimes like to use just a regular mechanical pencil.
Yeah, you can use a mechanical pencil, and then what you brought in here also is that friction pen. I would say friction.
It's a pink. This one's pink. But what works, my choice today would be the micron pen.
The micron.
In the black ink.
And you have the smallest size that they make, the tip.
I hope that's a fatter one.
It's a fatter one, but they do make very, very small ones.
So you're going to make a faint line.
I'm going to be very careful.
But the beauty of this Filane is because it kind of is fuzzy thread, even if your line is a little on the heavy side, this will cover it.
It'll be a little forgiving. And if you do miss, because it's fuzzy, you can kind of fuzz it.
Fuzzy mouth.
Fuzzy mouth. And you're like he hasn't brushed his teeth or something.
Crazy little
He is a candy corn, so he'd have dirty teeth because he's candy.
Draw the line, please.
Okay, everybody. So we're going to come over here and draw this line. And all I'm going to do is lightly trace. And I'm just going to work my way around. Do you want me to mark your 2 French knot dots?
You can. That's a great.
Just a dot?
Or does he get little buttons?
Oh, does he get buttons?
He might get buttons.
He might get buttons. He gets buttons. Okay, well, I marked where my buttons are going to go.
I think that's a great idea. Just mark them ahead.
Absolutely.
Even though you're not going to put your buttons on, or I don't recommend putting your buttons on until after your quilt is completely done and ready to be quilted. Okay, so am I in the camera?
Oh, now you are.
Now I am. Okay, so we have this cute little candy corn face, and I put a little quilter's knot in here. And what I'm doing is I'm actually stitching this before we assemble the block, because if you do this, number one, you have less thickness to go through. And I started this a little bit different than I normally do for a back stitch. I'm just doing a regular back stitch. And you can do this with the pokey way, or you can do it like a sewing method, however you like. Sometimes I do both.
And with this, in case anyone asks, how do you have to worry about tension or anything because you're just holding it in your hand?
Well, you just want to make sure and get your stitches to lay smoothly, so you're just gonna pull it through. Sorry, I just put lotion on, guys, so.
You got a slippery nail?
My fingers are slippery. See, it's looking good.
Look how cute. Now, can you do any stitch, of course, that you want to do? You could do, what else would you, I guess really this makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, to me a back stitch is going to give you a smooth line. And if you use like if you did a stem stitch or a chain stitch, you'd have a really fat mouth, that would look silly.
Yeah, a little too much. So really a nice simple back stitch is the best option.
Yeah, it's easy.
Now you're doing this before you put it as part of your applique unit?
Yes, and what I like about this method is when you get finished stitching this and you have it ready and you put it on your fabric, it's all, the thread is going to be really secure in here.
Oh, I like that.
And so, but you want to, one thing with that you have to be careful is to get your tails snipped really closely. Otherwise they're going to show through. Maybe you don't want a little black tail sticking up in behind the white on your candy corn space. So you want to trim your things closely. You also can do this with any applique that you're doing accent stitching on. Stitch it ahead of time. It's a little bit easier. You're not going through the thickness of the applique piece and the background. You know, you're just going through this one layer. So it's a little bit easier in one regard. It's a little bit more difficult to hold it still because I'm using such a tiny piece here, but it works.
Now, if you don't want to do this by hand, you can simply trace the line like we did and use your sewing machine to stitch the line.
In which case, I would stitch it after it's adhered to the background fabric.
So when you're doing it, would be part of the step of when you're actually doing your applique stitching, you would stitch that accent line.
Yes, the only time I would stitch this ahead of time or before it's put together is if I was hand stitching it.
That makes sense. So basically you can choose to use your sewing machine to do the accent lines, in which case you do just like you would normally, put everything down on your fabric and then go use your sewing machine. Or if you're doing the hand, makes sense to stitch that piece first before you finish building your applique units and adhering it to your fabric.
I just like the added dimension that this gives, especially with this particular thread. This is a relatively new thread to Sulky. I mean, I guess they've had it probably a couple years maybe, but
what I like is now it comes on the petite spool.
Yes, and so that's pretty much enough for most things, and it comes in lots of colors. So, I mean, like 130 colors or something like that. Is it
the exact same colors as the...
The colors they appear to be the same, but the numbers don't coincide.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I was a little disappointed with that because I kind of know numbers.
We have like our core numbers we use.
We're almost there, guys.
It doesn't take very long to hand stitch this.
And if you don't have lotion on your fingers, it's a little quicker.
Do you have a lotion that you recommend? Are there any lotions that you like? Like I like to use the, what is it called? It's just that plain lotion from Walgreens.
Oh, you like CeraVe?
Yes, I love it. It doesn't leave it.
Or Vanny.
It dry, Vanna Cream?
Maybe Vanna Cream.
It's like a basic brand, but it doesn't leave any like traces. And it doesn't have any smell, which I like.
Okay, so now I've made it to the end. I'm not going to put a knot here because this is going to stay. So I see no reason to put a knot. But I am going to snip it closely. See there?
Look how cute.
There is a knot at the beginning. And I suppose you could, if you're careful, you could do it where you didn't have it. And so his little face is ready to go. And like I didn't get it straight on the line right here, but that's not going to show because of the...
I can't see that.
I can sort of push the thread a little bit, but that's being really picky.
He's
But
so
again,
cute.
if you wanted to fuzz this up, all you have to do is just kind of give this, you can see just a little bit how I made that fuzzy. When you have a use the proper technique, you can make, I mean, this thread is fabulous.
It's really fun when you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sulky shows an example where they used it and did a mane's tail
On
on
a
a
lion.
lion. It was really cute. So I'm going to hand this back to you, Brittany, so you can finish assembling your piece.
So what I did is before we started filming, I started assembling my unit. So this is the face of the little candy corn from our block 5. So let me put the camera right here where you can see that. So you can see I've assembled his little body all together. So I need to give him a little face and a smile. Oh, he's so cute. Isn't he adorable? I kind of like having the little mouth stitched on ahead of time like that.
Well, you know, they're in the eyes, just little dots even, gives them such personality before if they come to life when you give them their faces.
That's what I always say. And any of you that have done the embroidery machine tutorials with us, I can't help but say that every time because they do come to life when you start stitching.
Even our new quilt that we were working on yesterday.
She really comes to life.
Yes.
So cute.
It's a girl.
That's all we can say. It's a girl.
It's a girl.
Okay, so I have my extra little pieces I'm going to set aside. And I have my unit. I'm going to set it aside. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move my picture. And I just want to tell you in your pattern, remember it tells you what applique units to build and all that good stuff. I've assembled all of them except for the face. So I'm going to set this aside. And what I'm going to do is turn on my light pad. So I have my light pad, my glass mat. I'm going to grab my favorite little guy in the world. And that is my fusing mat.
And here I thought I was your favorite.
Well, this is my favorite tool. You're my favorite person, human, mom, all of the above.
Right.
It's true.
Okay.
Well, Steven, sorry if you heard that. Mom's my favorite human. He's equal, don't worry.
That's her husband.
That's my husband, yeah.
For those of you who don't
He
know.
watches our lives a lot, so if he's watching, sorry, babe.
I think he's working today, didn't you say?
Yeah, he's at an event, so I think I'm safe, everybody.
Yeah.
My sister-in-laws could be listening, though. We'll see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is finish assembling my unit. So I'm going to put my little guy right back where he came from on his placement guide. And then, and you don't have to be just perfect, don't worry. There we go. And now I'm going to give him a face. So all I'm going to do is gently iron where the pieces overlap. And that's it. I'm going to take my iron. This is my little Steady Betty, or my Steam Fast travel iron. I'm just going to connect the head there for a few seconds. There we go. And voila, he's all put together. I have my little spider assembled already. And then I have my 3 stars. So we're ready to put this on our fabric now. So I'm going to set my pieces aside. Now I don't need my fusing mat anymore because remember I'm going to go straight to fabric. How easy is this? So I'm just going to take this off. Look at that. Oh, thank you, Mom. Move my little fusing mat. And I have my background fabric. Now I've pre-assembled this. It's a suit. And when I say assembled, I made a seam. So that's all you have to do. I love this block of the month. It's very simple. So you're going to sew your orange and your black together. Now I know for you on the camera, you can kind of see through to the lines, but here in person, I can see my lines. On your pattern, you have a line that marks where you're going to put this seam. And look, your fabric is way bigger than you need because you're going to trim it. And so what I'm going to do is get this little guy. I'm just going to put my seam right there. And you just want to make sure, oh, look, I wiggled. Did y'all see how bad I wiggled?
I did.
I basically moved the whole thing. All right. So what you're going to do, you can see your trim line is this very outer line. I believe it's 7.5 by 11.5, 10.5, something like that. Don't listen to those numbers. Use what your pattern says at the end. When you get to blocks or boxes 13 and 14 is when you're going to trim everything down. So don't worry about it right now. But I am going to now take this handy dandy little unit, use my placement guide underneath, and voila, put it in place. And you can see this little line is just like on the picture. See, my green goes slightly over the black and the orange. And so then I'm ready to iron this piece in place. Then I'm going to come back in just a second and put my spider and my stars. So what I do is iron right over my applique glass mat on my light pad, right? So I didn't have to move to another surface. When I'm done ironing everything on, then I put my Steady Betty in front of me, or you could go to your actual ironing board and do your final like iron. You know what I mean? Like your solid iron. And now we're gonna put our 3 stars in place. So we have a line right here. I love that I can see my placement lines. And then we have a star here. And then this little guy goes kind of wonky to the side. Take a look, easy peasy. Don't you love that we cut all the pieces for you in your kit?
Lots of pieces. I can tell you from doing my stuff, it takes a while to cut all those pieces. Exactly,
and it's so nice that you get to just open your box and start sewing. So it's my little spider unit that I assembled already before we started filming. And I'm just gonna put it right there. How cute. Adorable.
The best kind of spider is that kind.
The only kind of spider I would like. Now you'll notice on here we have some lines that you can go on and trace with that Pigma pen. You have like a little squiggle that goes down to your spider, and you have a little squiggle that holds your pumpkin. Now with this, Mom, we use, I believe, the machine to stitch these accent lines. But you could also stitch these by hand if you wanted to as well, to do that fillet thread if you wanted, correct?
Yes, or any black thread.
Exactly. Yeah, use your sewing machine, do it by hand. I am gonna simply...
Or you could do, I mean, it doesn't have to be black thread. It could be whatever you like.
Yeah, you can have fun.
I mean, he may be cute with an orange mouth. I don't know.
He could.
He could.
And you know what I love about this quilt? You really could stitch the whole thing in
black.
In black if you wanted.
You know, years ago, I'm going to say like 10 years ago, if you did, when we first started doing fusible machine applique, most people were using just solid black thread for that, which was a cute little accent.
It gives it a very whimsical look, if you will.
To me, it makes it look more like a coloring book type of drawing, but I like it. It has its place.
On this, a lot of the threads, if you take a look, let me come back down to this camera. If you look at how you stitch it, so this, pretty much all of your thread is matching. Around the purple on this quilt, you always use black. And then again, the pumpkin is stitched with an orange buttonhole stitch, and then Mom did a black accent line. Again, you do that by hand or the machine.
That's because I stitched, this is a little unknown fact, I guess maybe you didn't realize.
I don't know what you're gonna say, so no.
Well, I stitched that in orange and it didn't really show up.
Oh, so they could ignore the orange.
Ignore the orange. Just stitch it in black.
Oh, well, there you go.
Because the orange on the orange didn't really show. And I mean, if you're going to put a little pumpkin there, it might as well show up. So stitch it in black.
Exactly. Well, and throughout the entire quilt on this or any project, customize it how you love it.
Actually, it's fun to do different colors. Like, for instance, the lower portion of the yellow part of the candy corn guy, that could be so cute stitched in orange.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
I mean, you know,
you could stitch the whole little candy cane.
I think if I was going to do it,
or not candy corn, sorry.
I would maybe do the whole thing in black. Actually, the entire quilt probably done in black would be super cute.
It would be.
Yeah.
What I think is really interesting about this, because when you look at the quilt, it is so colorful, but there's only 6 colors of thread.
I know.
It's our smallest thread kit. It's so interesting.
One day I was down there and somebody said, "Could you hand me a bucru thread and pack?" And I'm like, well, this is only 6. This can't be right.
Panic.
I did.
It's real.
Oh my goodness. But it was, right?
Well, and it happens to be that anywhere there's purple, you stitch it with the black.
I stitched it in black.
And there's a lot of purple in the quilt, actually. Yeah, different purples, which are fun. Okay, so now that's block 5. It's so easy. We talked about the thread colors, how you can customize it. I want to make sure that we do a little bit on, sorry, I'm talking to the wrong camera, that we do a little bit, on block 4 as well. So with block 4, let me set these aside. Thanks, Mom.
Just call me Vanna.
Thanks, Vanna. I'll turn my light pad off for just a second because it kind of glows on us. So what I did with block 4, we have our little loose pieces that are going to go on our background fabric. I'm going to set those over here safely. A good tip when you are working with applique, and I don't have my little jar or anything here with me, but a little bitty cute jar or a little glass container or ceramic container.
A little saucer.
A little saucer. even something that, you know, the little saucers they make for like your jewelry, something like that to hold your little bitty pieces that maybe aren't part of a unit but are part of the block so you don't lose them. Because these are itty bitty circles, which Mom will talk about stitching them in a minute. But they're itty bitty bitty, so you don't want to lose them. Now, another trick would be that you could cut the piece. You know, we send you like a big square with all your pieces in it, and you just snip them free. On the really little pieces, you could wait and snip those free till the end.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's another way to do it. So what I've done, again, we tell you what units to build in your pattern, but we have our cute little center pumpkin. We have our top pumpkin unit. And then we have, oh, this little guy, he's so cute, our little bottom pumpkin. So what we're gonna do is assemble these three into one unit using our placement guide. And then we'll put it on our background fabric, just like we did with the previous block we've been showing you. So same thing, put your placement guide down on top of your glass mat, on top of your light pad. Get your favorite fusing mat out. I love this guy. I call this my perfect stack, by the way, if you haven't heard us talk about that. It all matches size-wise, and so it's just, perfect. You don't need anything else. And it's great no matter if you have a really big sewing space or a small sewing space. It's all contained in this one little area, which I love. So on this guy, make sure to always pay attention to your numbers because look, this little middle guy is the very first one you put down. He's the lowest level of the pumpkin, even though he's in the middle. So I'm gonna take that unit and I just plop it right in place. And now I'm gonna put my top little guy.
Now this is another one that you could stitch his mouth ahead if you wanted to.
Exactly, see he has a little smile. Mom could have stitched that ahead of time. Or like how I'm doing it, this would be, I would stitch it on the machine.
Yeah. Since
it's not pre-stitched right now. And so it just overlaps a little right here. Take your iron and give it, boop, little press. And now I'm gonna take my favorite pumpkin, I must say. I think I can declare.
I like him.
He's so funny with his little eyes. And we just put it right in place. He overlaps quite a bit, I must say, onto this pumpkin. And give it a little press. Oh my gosh, so cute. If you wanna go on and draw your little placement line for your mouth, you can do so now. There we go.
I suggest that you do that or you won't be able to see it.
Exactly. So I'm going to trace that with my Pigma pen. And I will tell you when I did, you see his nose when I ironed it down, it moved a little. So it was a little crooked, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. A trick though, if you get a piece in a spot that you don't like, if you gently heat it again, take a pen or like a little stiletto, you can gently wiggle the piece when it's heated again. I'm not going to bother doing that.
When she says a pen, she means a straight pen.
Yes. In my southernness, it's hard to tell which pen I mean. Do I mean pen or pen? Pen.
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 Does that green leaf have an accent line?
I don't know. Let me look. Oh, yes it does. So this is a dashed accent line, or you could do it solid. Did you do it dashed in your thing? You did not draw the accent line. Let's take a look, everybody. So you can see on Mom's stitching, she actually didn't do the accent line.
Well, there you go.
So I'm not gonna trace it.
Yes, I forgot.
If you want an accent line, have fun, do it. We gave it to you.
I would probably freehand that.
Yeah. Well, and I will say there's not green in the thread kit, so it could be in black.
Oh yeah.
So now this little unit is ready, and then the little extra pieces we're gonna put straight onto our background fabric. So just gently peel this little guy up. Thanks, Vanna. Now move your fusing mat. Get your fabric that you've already assembled. You've done that whopping one seam you have to do. I love it. I mean, I love piecing too, but I also love sometimes when like it's pretty much ready to go.
Well, I just love getting a box in the mail and having everything ready for me to just start.
It's just ready. It's just ready. I love it.
So much fun.
Yeah, I don't like when I get a box and then I like need more things. I want to like have it. So that's what we try to do. We make it a box we would want to get in the mail too. And I have to say, so I don't know if you can see on the camera, I can actually see through my black fabric right here because of the strong light of this light pad, which just delights me
awesome, huh?
To no end. I love these light pads. They're worth every penny. And then just make sure you get this little guy in place all the way up. And now we're gonna iron him And again, I'm going to do an initial press here on my glass. And then I will, oh look, I got a little off my placement guide. Oh well.
That's okay because you're doing manually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now we just have a few accent pieces to put over here. Let me flip it like this so you can see. So we have our two little triangles and those infamous 3 dots that I mentioned. So we will take, there's one triangle. Oh, he wiggled too. There you go.
Are you going to mark the eyeball placements?
I am. I guess I should have marked the eyeballs before I put it on the fabric. But then we also have a little curlicue over here. So I'm going to iron these 2 in place real fast so they don't wiggle. Can't have those wiggles. And then we have 3 itty bitty circles. So we have the larger one right here on top. Our little medium one is the one I believe right below it. Let's see if that fits. It's a winner. Now when you're working with your little pieces, make sure you have fusible side down. For some reason that sometimes is tricky to me. But you don't want to iron your piece to your iron. Speaking from experience.
In which case, if you do, just carefully peel it
remove
up
it.
with some tweezers or something.
Remove it. So there are going to be buttons at the end. You don't get your buttons until the end in your finishing kit because you don't want to put them on until after your quilt is quilted. So you can do a little dot where your eyeball is going to go. And it's so funny where the buttons go really changes the look. Like these little guys, look how close his little circles are. Oh, but even with a dot, look how cute he looks.
Oh, adorable.
I love it. So then we have one more. See up here, we have this curlicue line. Can you see? Maybe you can see it. But you'll be able to see it on yours at home. And I'm just going to very carefully trace that swirly line. And if you get off a little bit, that's okay. See, I made that just a little off, but that's okay.
And I feel like I should tell maybe some people who are new to this, if you don't have a light pad, you can tape your paper to a window, a sunny window, and then trace it that way. So really difficult to work on we're used to writing on a surface horizontal to us, or anyway, it's harder to write and draw when it's up on like a window.
But you can if you need to.
You can if you absolutely have to.
Or if you're at an Airbnb and you're at a quilt show and you buy something and you just have to make it, but you're at the whimsy of an Airbnb, which they don't come equipped with applique tools usually. So French doors work, remember? Or sliding glass doors.
Sliding glass door.
We did that with a project, which was really fun.
This is how you know you're a true quilter, if you are going to do it no matter what.
No matter what.
I think we had to put a flashlight behind it because it was even dark.
Oh, yeah, it was late at night.
It's totally ridiculous, but anyway.
That was funny.
Bound and determined.
That was quite an Airbnb. We had fun, though.
Yes. Okay, so.
Yeah, you want to talk about some stitch tips here?
Well, you wanted me to say something about the yellow.
Yeah, so see these little bitty circles to stitch around? Yeah. Mom, give us some tips.
Well, if you're going to do a blanket stitch around it, which is what I generally do, I'll use my needle up down position as always with applique. And
do you want to have this in your camera?
I don't care.
I'm just saying if you need to point.
I don't really need to point.
Oh, okay.
Or you could stitch it with a circle, just straight line, go around it in a circle. If you're going to do that, because these are so tiny, I would shorten my stitch length, as well as the little triangles accent. I would do those. You could do those as a straight stitch as well. I find if I'm going to do a straight stitch, I like to put the 50 weight thread in my needle for that, because the 30 weight thread seems to be a little bit, if you get too close to the edge, it helps the needle, it pierces.
I did not know you did that.
I do that, yeah.
I learned something
all
new
kinds
today.
Of secrets.
What other secrets do you have about stitching?
Stitch all the things.
Stitch all the things. So there you go. Tip of the day.
Tip of the day. Now, but the rest of this is really straightforward. And again, just like the other piece, I think it would be great to do the whole thing in black. Be super cute.
Yeah, let's show the colors that you use. We'll just review. I mean, those of you that have the pattern, of course, you can see it. But you stitch this top pumpkin with the orange. The green leaf is in black. This center solid pumpkin is all black, along with his little face. And then the bottom one, you did the face in black, and then the pumpkin pieces in orange. And then the green accent down here is black. And then the yellow on the yellow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And again, as I look at this now, I think all in black.
All in black would be so cute.
So make it fun. Make it yours.
Exactly. Now, for those of you doing the embroidery machine, you know we make everything match exactly how you stitch it.
Yes.
So you could still use the embroidery files and just never change thread. Keep it black the whole time if you wanted to, after you got past your placement lines. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fun.
I know.
So we hope everybody's enjoying this. That's the whole thing.
I think everyone loves Boo Crew. Come on.
How can you not smile if you're working on these silly little pumpkins?
They're so cute, and we have to make sure to mention Amy, our friend Amy, who's such a talented cross-stitch designer and artist in general.
Yes, and
this is from her art.
And knowing that so many people are in love with cross-stitch right now, or going back to cross-stitch, Amy does offer these characters in a cross-stitch design.
Yes.
And
is it called the Boo Crew? What's it called? I think it's called something else.
It's called something else, but I have forgotten.
You don't know what it is.
I was trying to think of what that was yesterday.
Just go to Amy Ruckin's website. You'll find it.
Yes.
Or if you have a local cross-stitch store that you go to.
Yeah, you can ask them. And she has all kinds of cute cross-stitch designs.
Yes.
She had
which we've turned into quilts.
Yeah. She had one snowman that was really cute that we want to make us a quilt maybe. There you go.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
I love it. So hopefully we have given you some useful tips that you can apply to blocks 4 and 5 and any project, I think. As always, if you have any questions, you can reach out, submit a support ticket, comment on the videos, ask us questions. We're here to help.
Please like our video if you like it.
Yes.
Leave us comments, as Brittany said.
Nice comments only.
Yes, please. And
we're not professional videographers.
And subscribe to our channel.
The struggle is real.
I feel like we're a little lax in asking everybody to subscribe, but apparently YouTube likes you better if you subscribe, and it'll pop up in your feed better if you're a subscriber.
Well, I was going to say the benefit of subscribing to us as a channel that you like, and any channels that you like, is one, you get a quick little notification, and it puts the most recent videos in your feed on YouTube, so you don't even have to go hunt for a video. They're just there when you scroll through YouTube.
I do that. At home, I watch YouTube in the evening on my television.
On the TV, it makes it easier for sure.
And I have a tendency to watch only what they're prompting me to watch.
Exactly.
I forget to go look for people that I
But it's also fun when they do that because you find new people.
Sometimes, yes.
Exactly.
You should look at rocks for your garden and see the kind of things they're going to start showing you.
What?
I'm like, I don't really care. I was looking for gravel beds for the backyard.
Oh, I thought rocks for your garden was an actual channel.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But I was looking for something, and then you get all these things that are really not interested in.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful.
How to lay 2 tons of river
Boulders.
gravel. I don't know.
So anyway, we thank you for joining us today. Those of you in the Boo Crew that are doing this, we hope that you're having as much fun as I did. Which, if you have even just a little bit of fun making this, you're having a lot of fun.
I love this quilt.
I had so much fun doing it.
And if you have an embroidery machine, you can join in, pick the version where you get embroidery files. I loved doing this on the embroidery machine, but embroidery machine is my jam. That's my favorite. I love it.
I'm an old-fashioned girl.
You're hardly old-fashioned. Just saying.
Okay.
In any case, happy stitching. Happy Boo Crew stitching.
Happy weekend. This is Friday for us. We don't know when you're watching this.
Happy whatever day it is for you.
Make it a great day.
Exactly.
And happy stitching, everybody.